G'day everyone and welcome to the Sophistimicated Gaming Podcast. Kirk here with Steve,
How you doing?
Bri,
Hello.
and Andy.
Hello.
Wow.
It has been a long time. I worked out it's been almost 4 years.
Oh my. Yeah.
And Steve, actually, just a couple of weeks ago, there was a special anniversary. What was it?
Absolutely. So that would be 7 years, nearly to the day, when we launched the very first episode of Sophistimicated. So
Wow.
go us. That was a while ago. We were still both in college. Yeah, look at that. 7 years ago.
That's right. We got together like early before class. It was my last class ever, I think, that I was doing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And we just sat around a laptop, like huddled around a laptop to try and get good sound.
It was like as a campfire.
Yeah. Talked about video games. And then we did that for a few years and we got these two young gamers on board.
For these guys.
Young at the time.
Who were, I think in just getting out of nappies when we started the podcast and then made their way into the gaming landscape at some point. And we thought we'd just sort of catch up. We saw the anniversary. We've always kept a messenger group going on Facebook just to sort of, I don't know, once every 6 months or so on some big gaming thing would happen and we'd chime in.
Yeah, just see that new trailer. Yeah.
Should we start the podcast?
Hey, I got
again?
to play a game for the first time in 3 months.
Yeah. I think the anniversary prompt and the fact that so many people are, just getting on Zoom at the moment with the coronavirus, we thought, look, let's just do it. Let's record it. If nobody watches it, so what? We've caught up and had a chat about games, which is a good thing to do. So good to see you guys.
Absolutely.
We are spread
Likewise.
around the country at the moment. So Andy and I are in Melbourne, so we are hardcore lockdown. If you're
I'm not allowed to
around
leave
the
this
world.
room.
Yeah, we are.
There's a lock on the door. I have it left in 6 weeks. Send help.
We are very restricted. We can really only see people who we live with. And apart from getting a few essentials and doing some really basic things. And then Bree's a little bit more freedom because she lives in country Victoria. And then Steve's up in Sydney where you've got a bit more freedom, although it seems to be a day-to-day thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, it's going to change. It's really going to change pretty soon.
Yeah. Anyway, it's good to see you guys. And I'd be interested to know, I worked out it was sort of around about March 15 that Australia started to shut things down and we were much less able to get out and about and do big meetings and so on. I'd be interested to know what people have been playing. I'm going to go alphabetical order, which makes sense particularly because, Andy, you have recently had a baby. Congratulations. And so I'd be interested to know.
Rad dad.
First baby. I'd be interested to know your gaming habits before then and then after then. That would be interesting to find out how that's gone.
Yeah, it's been interesting because it's probably gone from March and April and May and most of June. All of June was probably the most games I've played in a long time because we were all in lockdown, and so that was a lot of my socializing was through games because we didn't have events to go to and there was nothing else really going on. And then baby was born, Beatrix, in July. All healthy and well and great. We're having a great time. But yeah, obviously the my whole life has shifted, and so playing no games, but certainly less than I was. So yeah, it was a good experience. But we've been trying to prioritize spending time as a family and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyway, the question: what have I been playing? So. Before baby, I was playing a fair bit of Counter-Strike, so I got quite into that with my mates, and we were doing pretty well competitively playing that. But then I sort of made the realization that I'm getting old for twitchy first-person shooter games. I couldn't get out of Silver 2. I felt like I was, letting down the team or holding them back and stuff. So I retired from that a few months ago. And I said, nah, I'm just not. I wasn't enjoying it. It was just too, like, if you had a good game, great, awesome. You're left on a high, but you didn't have good games very often. More often than not, you'd be feeling frustrated and annoyed, and so I just called it quits.
The esport guys, these young players who play the Twitch sport, the genres where you need really fast reflexes. 24 is kind of their age limit. You hit 26 and your reflexes are just too slow to have a good career.
Yeah.
If you're talking about esports competitive leagues and stuff,
it's different. It's different to sort of I guess other maybe sort of other sports where maybe your strength you lose some of your reflexes, but your strength remains. It's like once you've lost your reflexes in esports, that's it. That's the only physical attribute you need, really.
Yeah.
Other than that, your tactical stuff, I guess, but reflexes is what you need.
Yeah, that's it. So we shifted a bit as a social group. We looked for a game that would support. There were more than 5 of us, so we were looking for some games that would support more than that. So we got into a bit of GTA Online when it was free on the Epic Store. That was good fun. And then just the last few weeks, I've been playing. Well, the last few days, even Microsoft Flight Simulator, which I love Flight Simulator. I had it back in the day. I had a joystick and all that. My dad got me into it. He loves flight sim games, and he's definitely not a gamer, but flight sim is where it's at. I was flying around Melbourne this afternoon and checking out the the Faulkner column, if you've seen that, the monolith, the obelisk. There's a bug in the game, if you haven't seen it, that instead of a 2-story tall building in one of Melbourne's northern suburbs, it's a 212-story building just in the suburbs. It's great. So you can see that from Essendon Airport. Highly recommend going for a fly and seeing it. Yeah.
So how did you find going from the competitive edge of Counter-Strike to the competitive edge of Flight Sim?
Oh, it's so nice.
Those communities.
I sit back and put it on autopilot and just chill. And
it's got pretty sweet graphics, doesn't it?
It does, but it's this generation's Crisis in that at ultra settings, you will not find a PC in 2020 that runs it.
Wow.
Yeah. It's and there's tech YouTubers out there that have done that with Core i9 processors, the best NVIDIA graphics cards you can get.
Wow.
They put it on ultra graphics and they're struggling to get 50 frames a second. And the sort of gold standard is 60. It's going to be a game that's going to be around for a while because it's sort of got that inherent, I don't know, stress built into it. That it's going to be a few years before processors catch up to it in the mainstream. Yeah,
I didn't think that would be Flight Sim because in 3 years' time when we've got the next big graphics thing and people turn around and go, yeah, but can it handle Flight Sim?
Can it?
That's going back to the 90s though. Flight Sims they always push the graphics, man. That was the hardcore enthusiasts with the 2 joysticks and the huge elaborate $500 setup with all their gear and the pedals and everything. Yeah.
And I teased as we were planning this reunion. I teased to you, Steve, the first game I completed as a dad.
Yes.
What is it?
That game is Carrion.
Oh, yeah.
It's a 2D platformer-esque game. It's on Game Pass, which is where I snagged it. And it's bloody brilliant. And I mean that in every sense of the word bloody. You play as a monster, like a tentacle monster. And it has some of the most fluid movement I've ever seen in a game. Because it's like, it's a 2D game and you've got different levels within the, where there are humans and that, they're constricted to walking along the platforms and stuff. But you're this tentacle monster, and you can just all across like the whole room, and so you kind of like fly through the level because your tentacles are just like grabbing onto everything. And then you go and you find the people and you eat them, and then you get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just the best. It's visceral and it's immense. It's so good. And it's got puzzle elements and stuff like that. It's just very, very good fun. Yeah.
Have you seen the octopus move in Finding Dory? It moves a bit like the octopus, but with way more tentacles that could go a lot further. But that sort of movement where you can sort of just suction onto any surface and flick around.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carrion looks like one of those good little indie games.
Yeah.
Knock it off in a few days.
Yeah, I think it was 4, 6 or 8 hours, something around there. Yeah. No, it probably wasn't 4. It was probably like 6 or 8. Yeah. Nice. It's good fun. Yeah, would recommend.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Bri, what about you? What have you been up to?
Look, my experience has probably been the complete polar opposite to Andy's. Even, as you said earlier, I've only managed to get to stage 3 restrictions rather than going into complete lockdown. And for the first pretty much like 8 to 9 weeks of this COVID situation, my work felt like Boxing Day every single day. Like, it was hard, it was rough. And then pile on the 2 hours of traveling every day on top of, the early mornings. And so by the time you got home, you were completely exhausted. So by the time you made dinner, fed pets, had a shower, it was like collapse, go to bed. Like, there was no downtime at all. That being said, though, at the beginning, we had probably 2 of the biggest games of the year before the end of the year come out on the exact same day. And that is Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing. So managed to get into both of those, more so Doom, because like Doom's more my style. But I did, get into the hype of Animal Crossing a little bit, which was fantastic because I could just
really
chill.
Similar audiences for those two
they're
games.
the same. It's amazing how you hear those 2 games side by side so often.
I have no idea how they managed to come out on the same day, but it's great. It's fantastic. It just shows you the 2 complete opposite spectrums of the gaming community. But yeah, Doom Eternal, absolutely loved it. Amazing soundtrack, absolutely amazing campaign, really invested. It's got a lot of extra playability after you finish the campaign as well, because you've got like ultra nightmare mode now. So which is essentially you cannot die a single time throughout the whole campaign, otherwise you get reset back to the beginning. And it's a massive challenge, and I applaud Hugo Martin on Doom Eternal. It is absolutely mint. Battle mode, the multiplayer is not my favorite, but there's more stuff coming later. I think next year for multiplayer on that game. So, but wait and see. But yeah, Doom, and I think I've managed to go back to Fable 2 a little bit recently.
Yes.
Yeah, getting back into the Fable. However, it does not like to run on the Xbox One X. It freezes every 15 to 20 minutes. So
Dang.
it
That
does not
sucks.
like it.
That's first party.
The One X just doesn't have the power to keep up with Fable 2, clearly.
That being said, upscaled a lot. Like, stunning, absolutely stunning. But just the game just can't keep up, and it's just it's so disappointing. And I've really tried, so unless you save every 5 minutes in the menu, and if you forget, you're stuffed. It's just
Which one? Now, which one's Fable 2? Because I think I replayed Fable 3 last year, and that's the one where you have a dog and you're the king and all that, right?
Yes, so that's 3.
So which one's Fable 2?
Fable 2 is the one where you're like the little tiny girl with the sister at the beginning, and you go to Lord Lucian's tower, and he kills your sister thinking that you're the just the minuscule, not important one. So he shoots your sister, you're pushed out the window, but you survive that weird, very, very tall fall, which no one would ever survive. But anyway,
video games.
Video games. And essentially, you become like the hero, and eventually take over.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Excellent. explanation.
And they sizzled up the next Fable
Ooh.
during one of the
I'm so keen.
conferences.
Is that why you're replaying it, Bri?
Yeah, once I saw that clip, I was like, yeah, I need to go back. Like, Fable's one of my favorite
I
games.
love
of all
those
time.
So good.
So
So good. And when I saw that clip in the first 3 seconds, I said Fable. And I was and I was on the money and I was so happy. I was so happy.
That would be one of the titles that would bring me back to Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never played one of them. I think I've got one sitting somewhere, either on my hard drive or on my shelf somewhere, but I've never actually got to it. Doom Eternal actually appealed to me more than the original Doom 2, I think, as in not Doom 2, Doom as well.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it was more cartoony. You know, when they relaunched Doom, the gore stood out to me like, oh, that's just so gory. I'm not sure I can cope with it. It was so intense. Whereas Doom Eternal, I feel like it's more cheesy. They really just ramped it up, more primary colors, you know, more back to that sort of this is just ridiculous.
More of a family-friendly Doom.
Say again, Andy.
I wouldn't say that.
More of a family-friendly Doom.
Certainly not family-friendly, but I don't know. I heard Hugo Martin, who's a really fun, interesting developer to listen to if you ever get a chance to hear him interviewed. He's sort of the creative lead on it. And he basically said they were deliberately making sure that they weren't trying to be sadistic and gross. Like all the finishes and stuff, they said there always had to be some level of fun and silliness about it because they weren't trying to just be gross for gross sake. It was, you know, it was all that sort of larger than life craziness. If it felt realistic, then if someone suggested something that felt realistic, they canned it. It had to be so over the top, silly for it to get in.
Yeah, it's
so,
definitely
I don't know.
over.
They had a better
vibe
to it for me than the first one did.
I think with you know, the saying that it's over the top and everything, I think the arena style really helped it. So, you know, in most of the levels of the campaign, you'll come across these massive arenas, and like that's when like the soundtrack like really kicks in, really gets you motivated, and it's like it is very over the top. Like every element. You know, obviously, like glory kills are still very, very gruesome and gory and everything, and it's a lot of fun. But I think they introduced some really good, super strong characters into, or like demons into this one. Like, if you have a look at the Marauder and the conversations that surround the Marauder, it was incredibly infuriating, but so satisfying when you learn how to deal with the Marauder. And I think everyone loves to play him in battle mode because he's just like the worst character to come up across. It's just fantastic. So, but yeah, the arenas certainly helped that over the top experience for the game, and it just had such a great feel when playing it.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to play? Yeah. Have you had a chance to play VR yet?
Oh no, I haven't. I do actually have a PlayStation VR, but I don't have the camera. So, and I need the camera to work. And it's $90 for something that I may not use that much. So it's, you know, like maybe one day eventually, but like priorities are in a different spot right now. But yeah, maybe eventually. Yeah, I'll definitely get into it. Yeah.
Steve, what have you been playing, mate?
Yeah, look, I got 3 kids now. That's 2 more than last time. So I live vicariously through my children's gaming at the moment, which actually it's quite wide. So I do have Jedi Fallen Order, Spider-Man, some of the other big titles. I've hardly touched them. But at the times when you get there and you get rights to the TV that night, it's like, yes, I'm going to go to sleep. There's those ones. But let's talk of the games I have finished with James. That would be Lego Marvel Superheroes, Lego Incredibles, Lego Ninjago. I'm at least halfway through The Witness with him. And which is pretty amazing. My son's 5. That's my oldest, and he can actually do some of the witness patterns, which is really cool, pattern recognition kind of stuff.
That's so cool.
Which is a lot of fun, and that's just a relaxing game to just walk around in and relaxing world, that kind of stuff. But lately, Come on, Fall Guys.
Yes, I was going to ask.
Oh, Fall Guys. Wow. So haven't got a crown, but we have been playing it a lot. And it's look,
Nice.
2-minute matches,
Yeah.
simple, accessible fun. Hate on the seesaw. But other than that,
That's my best level. I'm so good at the seesaw.
Oh, it's just the seesaw. It's just James has done it. So yeah, he can conquer the seesaw. There's whirly gig he cannot. But anyway, look, Fall Guys for the win. Every now and again, I still bust out Rocket League with him, and have a bit of a drive in that. But yeah, I live through him with our gaming, and that's mostly the family friendly stuff. So yeah, a lot of the Lego games we've finished them all. So we're 90% through Marvel completion, and my wife is currently going 100% on Lego Harry Potter. So, and that's a PS3 title remastered for PS4. So, but yeah, there's Spider-Man in there and Jedi Fallen Order and that kind of stuff. Hanging though. Oh, Kirk, I'm going to jump forward just a tiny bit and go Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will finish Tony. Oh, we'll get to the last anyway. We'll get
When it
there.
comes
September
back.
4.
We'll get there.
Not too
September
far
4,
away.
baby. Come on.
Really?
Come on.
Is it that soon?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Jeez.
Only like a bit over a week away.
Everything's
Like
getting
4 games
delayed.
that
But
come out
I mean,
on
if
that
it hasn't
day
been
too.
delayed
Wow.
yet, yeah.
It should have gone gold by now. But yeah, Kirk, you're up.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Well, Fall Guys. Yeah, we downloaded that just recently. Oh, that's so fun.
Guys.
It's just, you ever watch a show called It's a Knockout when you're a kid, or Wipeout more recently? It's just obstacle course fun. It's
It is
just
so good.
It is a really
So
good
good.
game to play with your family, and because I think it's that perfect thing of it's still fun when you're hopeless at it.
And it's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's a great spectator game, and I really think they've got potential to local multiplayer it as well. They could easily get split screen going.
I'm really hoping that's going to come up in a future edition. Get some look. It's going to work. Sure.
And given that they've had, I think, 2 million downloads on Steam and 5 million on PlayStation or whatever, they're going to have a pretty good player base for a long time.
Is it cross-play? Like, is it cross-platform? I haven't had anyone.
I don't think it is.
I don't think so, but I presumed not.
I think they announced they're bringing it soon.
Yeah, it's fine.
That was what I was going to say. Yeah, and it's not a exclusive on PlayStation in the sense that it's never coming to Xbox or Switch. So I would be shocked if it doesn't. Like, I'm sure Microsoft have been on the phone going, so Game Pass?
Yeah.
Classic. It was the Rocket League move, kind of out on PSN week 1.
Yeah.
Boom, everyone's got it.
Yeah, but it'll for sure. Yeah, they'll bring it to the other consoles. Absolutely, that'd be nuts. Sure. And I'm sure Nintendo and Microsoft will be saying, "Can we give you a team to port it? Like, we want it." So yeah, Fall Guys will be around for a long time. That's been really good. Yeah, restrictions mean you got to play with your kids a bit more. I think, because my kids are a bit older, so whenever they see you playing, they're like, "Can I play?" So we did the first half of Braid. I don't know if you remember Braid, Game of the Year, like 8 years ago.
No, more than that, surely.
Maybe more. No, it would be. Yeah. 10 years ago.
Yeah,
probably.
I'd say like 10 to 12.
Yep.
Anyway,
yeah, maybe 12. Jonathan Blow. Oh, when did The Witness come out? Because it was at least 6 years before The Witness. The Witness came out. Yeah. So let's say 10 years. Anyway.
Yeah.
Braid, like simple platformer initially, but difficulty gets really quite difficult later on. So, the kids were quite good at it early on and really enjoyed it, but we stopped when it just got too hard. But it's such a good game. It's perfect, really. The Witness and Braid are game design at the very highest level. Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Yes.
Oh, so jealous.
About Ori.
So jealous.
That game has the most perfect controls
Oh yes, the
Of-
improvements were amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just I think games underestimate having a perfect control scheme and just sort of, split second perfect controls and so on. So that is a brilliant game, and I highly recommend playing it. The first one was fantastic, but this one is improves it in all the ways you want a sequel to improve things.
Yep, 100% agree with that. Yep.
Brilliant, just outstanding. So really loved playing that. Went back to FTL. Have you guys ever played FTL?
Yeah.
I only know of it, never played it.
FTL's what would you call it, Andy? It's a roguelike in the sense that you die once and it's all over. Yeah. It's like a spaceship,
it's spaceship management game.
Yeah,
I guess.
You top down, you manage your spaceship like your Enterprise sort of thing. You manage your different, your engine room and your shields room and stuff. And then you go up. You got to sort of cross the galaxy, taking on different enemies and managing your ship and repairing it and so on.
Have you ever finished it?
Well, yes, I have.
Is this wow?
So I hadn't, and it was so hard. I got to the last boss and so on, and I just always died. Always.
Yeah. Because you get to the last boss and you're out of weapons already because you've just fought through everyone, and then you get halfway through killing the boss, and it does that thing where the boss resets and it's got all its health back, and you've got nothing, and it's like phase 2 of the boss.
Yeah, and then you beat it, and you go, "I've finally done it," and then it comes back again.
Yeah.
So you got to beat the boss 3 times, and it's one of those games that often feels unfair. It's like, this is just cheating.
It kicks you while you're down.
Yeah, and you feel demoralized after every game. It's just like, it only goes for like an hour to 2 hours per round. So but every time it calls you back, like, have another go. Come on.
If you just did it just that little bit different, you might have turned out totally different. Yeah.
And so my daughter Jasmine, she'd been sitting and she'd been starting to work it out and work out the tactics and stuff. She's 8, and so she'd be egging me on, like, "Dad, let's have another go. Come on, you can do it this time." And so she'd sit like right here, and be egging me on. And anyway, there was one time I said to her, I opened my mouth to say, "I think we're going to beat the boss this time." And then we literally blew up as I was about to say it. So, but the very next time we did it. So we beat FTL, and it was actually quite easy. Like, absolutely dominated the boss, barely a scratch. Although we were playing on easy. And so there's easy, medium, and hard. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it felt so good to do it.
Awesome.
And we play Overcooked with with the kids' cousins.
Of course.
Overcooked 2 with our cousins in lockdown, which is a great.
That's a lot of fun. Pull that out every now and again.
Actually, is that cross-play, Steve? Because I could play with you.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, maybe we should do that. Our kids can play together. That'd be good.
That'd be fun.
New one of those actually coming out too now.
Is there really?
Yeah, All You Can Eat. It is coming out on next gen.
Nice.
Yep.
When did they announce that?
A couple of days ago.
Huh? There you go.
So expansion pack or?
No, whole new game.
So You Can Eat is the actual game.
It's called All You Can Eat. I don't know any more details than that, but super excited. Always down.
Like Overcooked 3, All You Can Eat, or the game's just called?
It's just called Overcooked All You Can Eat. That's all it's called.
Okay. Yeah. So they're keeping the Overcooked name.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's going to be a different style, but who knows?
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be an open world game.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool if it is. Since that's the general consensus of most games coming out right now.
It's the flavor of the year, isn't it? Yeah.
I've been looking to Overcooked to really push the next gen. So.
Yeah. Really pushing the envelope.
Now, guys, did you notice after we finished podcasting and we did that final episode, about 6 months later, the world was declaring that the golden age of podcasting had begun. I was sort of going,
yeah.
Well, it's because all this space opened up. Because Sophistimicated, the powerhouse of Sophistimicated, had left a void in the media landscape.
Yeah, it wasn't the best
timing
timing,
wasn't
guys.
great. No.
It's like all these podcasts that were just, scraping along and just were these little people just doing stuff in their lounge rooms, all of a sudden have just taken off. It's like, oh, great.
Left us behind.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, we just thought we'd given it. I think, Kirk, we talked about it. We thought, look, we'd given it a really good crack. We'd interviewed the people we'd wanted to interview. We'd talked to developers. We'd talked to people in the industry. We'd talked to people who are on television, internet personalities. The whole gamut went. We got to talk to people who work from one organization as they came through to the a new organization. Like, well, we ticked it all off. So we thought, look, this is a nice time to stop. Oh well. We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
And the landscape has changed a lot since then,
Yeah,
and all sorts of interesting things have happened. Which is what I guess the main reason we come back is there are some interesting things to talk about, and so that'll be the next part of the podcast is just to sort of talk about that, and we might use the E3 season because E3s didn't happen this year and maybe won't because it seems like the organization that runs E3 are basically a bunch of dodgy brothers who everyone hates and basically tolerated because they ran an event that people needed to go to, but had some pretty shocking practices, and so maybe E3 will never come back in the way that it was once. But we still got press conferences, we still got announcements. I don't know about you, it felt like probably we got less big news than we might have because clearly the coronavirus, whilst it's been great for video game sales and players, like if there's one industry that has not suffered financially from the coronavirus, it's video games. Like they're raking it in. As you said, Bri, like you're still working in video games, obviously, and
yes,
no problems with that sales-wise. But obviously, moving everything on, to working from home has meant a lot of projects have slowed down. So Fable, we get the new Fable game, we get a short trailer instead of maybe getting some gameplay reveal and that sort of thing. Halo got delayed.
So depressed about that.
Yeah, that's a big blow to Xbox.
That's huge.
It's huge.
To launch their next gen without Halo. Is that the first time that's ever happened? Bri, Andy might be able to tell me.
No, Xbox 360 didn't launch with a Halo.
Oh, yeah, it didn't. That's true.
Neither Xbox One, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think Guardians came out well later in the year.
Yeah, I think
good point.
it was
Okay.
yeah.
Because
So it was only the first Halo that was a launch title.
Yeah, and that's when I was working in it. So that's like 20 years ago now. But surely they all did. No, they didn't.
But even like the new, the PlayStation ones where they revealed the new Spider-Man and the new Horizon, the new Horizon game, but there was very short glimpses of those games.
Oh, yeah.
It was really like, hey, there's a new one of these coming, and then like we move on. So we didn't get a lot of details about a lot of the things that are coming out, and I don't think everyone's getting too stroppy because we know, it's just going to be hard to get those things together. But what do we take away from? I guess it was probably 3 months of announcements. It's not even finished, is it? I think there's another Microsoft press conference coming up.
There were some excellent announcements just today from DC.
Oh, you're talking about
okay. I might not be up with these.
No, is this Suicide Squad?
So there was like this is literally like breaking news.
Probably not by the time we put this online, but
yeah. Suicide Squad Kills Justice League is the title of the game.
Yeah.
There's also a new Batman-centric game called Gotham Knights. And then there was the Batman movie titled The Batman. And what am I missing, Bri? Was there a Suicide Squad movie as well?
Oh, I didn't hear about a Suicide Squad movie,
maybe not.
But let's
maybe
hope not, because the first one was terrible.
It might, maybe they were the three big ones. But
the games made by Rocksteady, who made the Arkham
I
games.
know Suicide Squad is Rocksteady.
So Suicide Squad Kills Justice League is Rocksteady. Gotham Knights is Warner Brothers Montreal. who have done very good stuff
Okay.
before. I think I couldn't remember what else they've made, but that game looks really good. I think I'm more excited for Gotham Knights than Justice League, than Suicide Squad.
We didn't see anything from Suicide Squad though. Wasn't it just like, I know it was a really long press conference, and I honestly just watched the highlights and I watched the trailer.
I just watched the trailer before we started. I thought there was elements of gameplay.
Maybe I missed it. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe. But Gotham Knights looks really good. You play as like the side character good guys. So Robin and Deadpool, not Deadpool. Deadshot.
Yep. Yeah, Deadshot.
And who's the other Robin guy? Nightwing. Yep. Batgirl. So he plays all them, but it looks stylistically similar to the Arkham series. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's good announcements. I mean, companies that have made good games just announcing, good games coming out again.
Did you like that game? Oh, we're going to make it again. Slightly different.
Yeah.
So out of the Sony conference, so Spider-Man, Miles, cool. That'll be cool. Horizon, first one was amazing. Next one will be equally as good. Ratchet and Clank.
Yes. That new Ratchet.
Oh, wow. Like if that was the gameplay they were saying, and because that was the only one that I saw and kind of went, oh, that looks cool. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that looks cool. That's cool. But watching Clank fall through worlds and seeing them kind of in essence instantly SSD rendered, bang, you are in it. That was the point I've gone, okay, rewind. Play.
Yeah.
Was that? Oh my goodness! I think that's real.
Yeah. That was the only game shown in the whole period that I felt really next gen made me go.
Exactly.
If that's actual gameplay, that can only be done on next gen. All the other stuff, like Spider-Man, just looks like Spider-Man on PS4.
Yep.
Like Last of Us 2 had just come out. I was like, none of these games look as good as Last of Us 2, like that game looks brilliant. So we know good graphics, whatever, but that, if people haven't seen it, Ratchet and Clank basically seems like he can switch into another dimension. The main character can switch into another dimension with like 1.5 second loading time. This sort of circle spins and you're suddenly in another dimension. Complete change of world. Full 3D world. Now that looks impressive. And if that actually combines well into the game, I know Titanfall 2 did something nothing quite at that level, but
not that. It was like time travel stuff.
But this looks
it wasn't that complicated.
Like it was quite simple like that. This just looked like a whole other level. So yeah. If that's real, like it was, we didn't see enough of it to see that it was integral to the gameplay. But if you as a player can choose to switch like that, then that's a whole thing. Now, I'm not convinced that it is, but if it is, well, cool as.
Yeah.
I think
that's Half-Life 2 level sort of, innovation stuff that we haven't seen for a very long time. So I don't know if there's a release date on that one. Is it a launch title or is it just it's going to come out at some point?
There's no information at the moment. The trouble is both of them are playing very cat and mouse right now, and I'm over it, to be honest.
I think the world is over it, to be honest.
So there's literally no information on Sony's side whatsoever. Like they're focused more on the accessories and like controller side of things. But Xbox has given a little bit more in terms of like they said everything was going to be like day one, like except Fable, but now obviously Halo's been delayed. And they said that all these games are going to launch on day one. And now they've said November. So I'm like, cool, got something to hang on to. Thanks, guys. But yeah, Sony's been dead quiet. Real dead
and they're doing the same thing with price, aren't they? They're both waiting for the other to launch their pricing so that the other one can undercut them.
Yep.
See, here's the funny thing that's happening on the internet at the moment. So you've got I think every would-be video game news outlet is getting any kind of tiny bit of information on the pricing that they can.
Yeah.
So people are jumping at competitions where the price has been, inverted commas, leaked. I think they just guessed, to be honest. And other ones who people are photoshopping Amazon pages and Walmart pages.
Crazy.
And suddenly, because it ends up on Reddit or 4chan or something like that, this is a rumor that could be true. We don't know what the pricing is. And then people find out how much the components are, and oh my goodness, the component costs this much, the price must be this. It's just going. There is so much speculation on there that it's just, this is endless, guys. Just you're commenting on nothing, but you need to make something. So
that's it.
I really wish the clickbait articles would just stop in its entirety.
I think they'll stop when we stop clicking on them.
I've stopped clicking on them, but even when I see them, I'm like, come on, like it's just ridiculous. Like, stop with the
clickbait. There is one next gen console that has launched its pricing.
That would be the Atari.
The Atari.
How much was that again?
$850.
Just runs Linux. That's what it is.
Someone legitimately asked me about this the other day too, like at work. Oh man, and he was so excited. I've never seen someone more excited for an Atari.
I mean, look, it's a good-looking console. I'll give them that. Like the wood, that it's just like it's all the nostalgia for a certain generation. Not you or me, Bri.
Not even me, man.
You're pushing it with Kirk and me, mate. Oh,
it's so far off the mark. It's just like, who are they targeting? I just don't
know why it's so much though. This is the problem, because all the retro consoles that have come out the last kind of this has been something that's happening since we stopped. All the retro NES, retro SNES, retro like they've all
the
come
mini
out.
stuff.
They've been hilariously short cables. I mean, they're mini. So let's run with that.
The 1.5 meters.
I want to play it like this. Atari. Like, what are you? No. So, sure.
Bonkers.
Not at that price range, sorry.
If it was half the price, I still think it'd be overpriced.
Okay, so here's my take on the console strategies here. It is refreshing to have an actual different strategy from Sony and Microsoft at the moment. Last time it was basically they were almost identical, and
Microsoft tried to do something different and got slammed for it. And that they wanted it to be online only. Sorry,
and
way back the TV sort of stuff. When the Xbox One first, But at launch, yes, the two strategies were the same.
Yeah, and so now you've really got Sony are staying the course. They're going, well, big AAA exclusives have worked for us, so we're going to just push along that line, and we're just going to go, we can expect a Naughty Dog announcement at some point that their next game, and then pushing the horizon, pushing Spider-Man, and of course you've already got those worlds basically built by those developers. Why not, put a new coat of paint on them? They were great games, of course. Do sequels to those, absolutely. Will there be a God of War sequel? Probably. Those sort of things. So they're really going in on that power. They've put out a new controller and all that. What's working for Xbox? Since they screwed up with the Kinect and everything, Game Pass. Game Pass is
true.
Working.
Yeah.
Very
so
true.
they it's almost like they've gone, do you know what? AAA exclusives are maybe not our thing. We'll just trust the third parties to put those big titles out. EA's still going to make some massive titles. Ubisoft are going to still make massive titles. They'll still come to Xbox. We'll do the AA titles throughout, and we'll have exclusives for them, and they'll just all go on Game Pass. They won't cost as much as Last of Us 2. They won't cost as much as Ghost of Tsushima. But we're just going to get this regular income. And we know that once people get a subscription, they usually don't unsubscribe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's a whole different strategy.
yeah,
It's
and they're just
phenomenally
doubling
different.
down on it. And it's almost like they don't care if you don't buy the Series X.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
This
it.
is-
Like
this
you could
is-
you could have a Windows PC and they'll just be
Well,
as happy to
yeah.
sell you Game Pass as,
Well,
as anyone
because
else.
they've got
Like,
the
yeah.
crossover between PC and Xbox now as well, which is massive.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm curious the prices have come out. But because Xbox has gone for a service model rather than a sales
generational shift.
generational kind of model, like straight out of the box, they're going to go, yeah, well, we don't really care how many. Yeah, yes, we want you to have the console, but hang on, how many people are on our service? Oh, right. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming. And then they're just going to go, cool, get an Xbox, get Game Pass. How many games do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cheapest version, the cheapest console will be an Xbox. This is my prediction.
200%.
Put it out there.
Yeah.
Because you can use an Xbox One control pad. So they will put out, this is my prediction, they'll put out a console, a Series X console, which has no control pad and no disk drive. And that will be the cheapest version. Now, whether you can buy it in a store or you can just buy it online or whatever, but they'll want to have the lowest price point. That's my theory. And you'll go, you know what? I've got 2 or 4 control pads at home already. And I'm happy to just go digital because I'm just going to go Game Pass from now on. So I'll get that cheapest one. Sony will at least require you to buy a control pad. Therefore, there'll be at least one step up in price. So that's going to be fascinating to see how that plays out. It's a big risk for Microsoft because it may not work because arguably the AAA exclusives are going to be better. And like I have an Xbox at the moment, but geez, it would be nice to like some of those sexy PlayStation games. Like, oh, geez, like, whoo. I mean, I have Game Pass, so there's that sort of it's loyalty mainly by the fact that I have that existing machine, and it is nice that I can use my control pad on the next one. But gee, there's some good games on the PlayStation. So
I was so Kirk, you've still got my PS4 just as a reminder. And as we went into lockdown, and then as I had 2 weeks off for parental leave, I was thinking, oh, what games do I want to play? And I went to the AAA titles that we've been talking about on PlayStation. Last of Us 2. I didn't actually finish Last of Us 1. Spider-Man, I wanted to replay that. They're the titles that I was like, man, I could really go for that, like that really premium high quality. And I thought about, oh, well, Kirk's got my PS4, so, what have I got on Xbox? I was like, oh, not that much that's drawing me towards it. Like, yeah, there's some great games on Game Pass, but there's nothing like that really high polish of those other ones. Yeah.
Uncharted 4 stands out to me as like, if playing that, if it upscaled onto PlayStation 5, like, that game is just so good. I'm just not sure there's anything that good on Xbox. So if you really love that, just super polished level, but I realize a lot of people don't. A lot of people would just be happy to play that one really great game, the multiplayer game that they just get hooked on, which you can probably just play on PC or just get on Game Pass and just flog it. So I guess Xbox are just conceding. I really think they've just flown the white flag on that and gone, maybe we won't get that AAA gamer. PlayStation's going to get them, the people who love those, and we'll just get everyone else. And they just think that there's a big enough market for the people who don't go for that particular type of game.
I mean, it's not.
If you listen to the games we listed in the games we've been playing, there wasn't a whole lot of AAA going on there. Earlier in the episode.
Yeah. It's not dissimilar to Nintendo's strategy in 2008, 6? When did the Wii come out?
The Wii, yeah. I was going to say, if you're talking about the Wii, yeah. That was a while ago.
Because they did a very similar thing in terms of they gave up the hyper end of the market, the ultra gamer end of the market to go after that next step down, the mass media, the mass market, where they saw great success with the Wii, like still one of the best selling consoles of all time. And they did that without going for the hardcore gamer. They did that by going for the family gamer, for the Wii Fit gamer. And I'm not saying Microsoft's doing the same thing, not by a long stretch, but they are. It does seem like, yeah, they're taking that little step back from the bleeding edge of gamers. And there's still, I'm not saying they're ignoring them. There's still definitely stuff on the Xbox for, Halo, Gears, other games. Forza, yeah.
But even with Halo,
Gears, that's literally it, isn't it? Like that's the Fable when it comes out.
Yeah, Fable when it comes out, but Forza is a big big game for Xbox.
Yeah, because Sony's given up on Gran Turismo basically. Like it's
even with Halo though, I felt like I thought Halo looked fun, and I know people were smashing it, but to me it looked fun. I thought I reckon I had fun playing that.
Yeah. Grappling hook a grunt and then pulling him over, and then grappling hook a exploding barrel and throwing that at your end. Like, heck yes.
Taking notes from Doom, they're just gonna say. Doom Eternal with the grappling hook. I'm just gonna say that. Yeah.
But it didn't look next gen. It didn't look like it was going to push the envelope. So again, it felt like they conceded there and gone, this is not going to be the sort of thing that really pushes the envelope.
If we were still doing a podcast, I would love to do an episode about the difference between graphics and art style. Because I am mad at the mainstream gaming media and the fanboys for saying that Halo had crap graphics because it didn't. It had good graphics in a specific art style.
Yes, 100% agree.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Here's another question. Like, take Last of Us 2, right? That pretty much took the entire generation to make. Like, they pretty much were making that from the time that PlayStation 4 was launched, weren't they?
Yeah, it was in development for 7 years, yeah.
Okay. So they've taken the entire generation to make the game. It comes out the last year of the console's life. There's got to be a question that the console developers are asking themselves, which is, okay, it sold well. Good. But is it worth it? Is it worth putting that amount of money and that amount of risk? Because what could happen in 7 years? Like if the console doesn't do well, it's not really a console seller, when it's at the end of its lifespan. You've really trusted that other games have sold the system, and then it's really good at the end, and it makes its money back, and then makes money. But because obviously that money would have just cost squillions of dollars to make, it's not going to make heaps of money. Fall Guys is probably, I don't know, but is Fall Guys going to make more money than The Last of Us 2?
It's possible because,
Surely.
from my general experience with The Last of Us, it hasn't been as popular as the first game. It's been incredibly divisive on the people that have enjoyed it and the people that absolutely hated it. And, it's really 50-50. I get a lot of people that come in, they say I absolutely hated it. And
it's sold well, but it doesn't have microtransactions. It doesn't have that ongoing, life that Fall Guys will probably have with expansions and, costumes and so on. So they might look at that and go, you know what, you can make Fall Guys in 2 years and make, let's say, as much as The Last of Us, which cost way more to make, was way riskier, and has a smaller potential audience because of its violence and the intensity of it and so on, being a AAA and so on. Now, I don't want to play the Last of Us 2. Maybe we could have a conversation about that. Even though I really loved the end of the first one, and I thought it's the best ending of a game probably I've ever played. But I don't want to. I don't want to play it. But I'm glad that sort of game is getting made, because it looks beautiful and because they did take a risk on it and so on. But yeah, I do wonder if Sony sits around and goes, okay, that's a sort of amazing achievement. But do we want to keep making that sort of thing? Or does there need to be a technological advance that allows that sort of game to be made cheaper? And I know the new Unreal engine has potential to do that, because they were talking about how they can actually create assets in that engine a lot easier, a lot faster, and that might actually make AAA gaming a lot quicker. But maybe there needs to be some tech to help with that, because the rendering of the guitar in The Last of Us 2 took specific staff members 6 months or something, just to do a guitar. It was crazy sort of amount of time. And you go, that guitar looks amazing, but really,
was it worth it?
This is the funny thing, though, because some like Naughty Dog has got a very now specific genred style, which is you for the most part, you know what you're getting with a Naughty Dog game, whereas for other developers who've kind of come and gone, classic Bethesda, other developers, kind of like for some, I think Naughty Dog to a point kind of gets a free pass from Sony to say, how much money do you want? How much time do you want? Get it out there, because we know you're gonna sell it. And that's then when the question is kind of raised for me. So for a game which has become now so divisive, it's and pretty much on the storyline. But there's more aspects in it than that. The gratuitous violence, but is it part of it? But it's a revenge plot. The whole thing. It's curious to think that if Naughty Dog was given another kind of 5-year plan, what would they come up with? And would it be another sensational Uncharted type, Last of Us type linear experience? I think everyone would still get behind it. But that's because we know the kind of experience. Like, I'm playing through Uncharted 4 again at the moment, and it's like what you're saying, Kirk. It's just an amazing, enjoyable game. But mostly because the characters, because the world, because of it's not indie. It's just enjoyable. But if Naughty Dog make it again, I'm like, no, I think I'm there again. I don't know.
It's a good call. Yeah. It's a good call, Steve, in the sense that it makes Sony seem elite to give Naughty Dog the permission to just go, you guys make us look so good that we're just going to give you all the money and give you all the time. And they don't really give that to many others. They maybe gave it to Cory Barlog with God of War. Yeah. And I guess maybe they'll now give it to, is it Guerrilla Games who make Horizon? So maybe they just pick 2 or 3 developers and go,
flagship. Insomniac.
You're allowed to do this. No one else gets that, and they just trust that raises the quality of their brand so much that they're prepared to take the hit on. And actually, maybe it doesn't make that much money. Maybe Naughty Dog games don't earn a whole lot, but they just make Sony look so good. And Uncharted 4, the quality of that game is so ahead of any other game like it.
Just can't compare it.
It's way less divisive than Last of Us 2. Like, it's so just fun and, it's good times. Maybe it's just good brand stuff. It's like good advertising. Maybe it's just worth it in that sense. Microsoft doesn't. Who does Microsoft have to do that? Nintendo has their own in-house. Yeah, the people who make the Mario games sort of do that. Mario is just usually very good quality. I don't know if Microsoft have that.
See, I only know who Microsoft had rather than who Microsoft have now. Is Lionhead making Fable?
No. So Lionhead went bankrupt.
That's what I thought.
It's actually, so it's a completely new team that are doing this new Fable. So I completely just spaced on their name. I did know it, but
that's all right.
But Lionhead is not doing it this time around. So I'm very interested to see how it's going to turn out and how different it's going to be from the original games. Like
the
obviously
Forza games are good. Like the Forza team, obviously, yeah, they pump out quality regularly at the very high level. But I mean, that's quite niche, you know, racing. But apart from that, I can't really think of.
Yeah.
Well,
again, they've. Oh, you go, Bri.
Oh no, sorry. I was just going to say, Bungie's actually coming back to Xbox. That's something that's been in the news lately. After they've had their time with PlayStation and focusing on Destiny and that sort of thing, but I think it was about a month ago they announced that Bungie is actually shifting back to Xbox. So that's a little bit interesting to see what might happen there. Who knows what's in the future with Bungie, but obviously you've got 343 sitting there, and now possibly Bungie sitting there, and and I think they're focusing more on these smaller teams creating these really great little indie games, and that's their focus right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. In the same way that we've already spoken about how they're sort of stepping back from the AAA releases, they're stepping away from the AAA studios as well, and they've been purchasing studios left, right, and center over the last few years. But they're all working on those lower tier games. They don't have anyone like the Insomniacs or the Naughty Dogs of Sony because they don't need them. They're not putting out those massive, high quality games. So, am I still there?
Yeah. Okay. So it's more like the Outer Worlds, with Obsidian or in the Will o' the Wisps. These sort of games which are very well received, they review well, but they're smaller teams, so they're probably making a fair bit of money. They're successful in that sense because their profit
margins would be
yeah. But it's all hinging on Game Pass, isn't it?
Yeah.
So far, though, they seem to be doing pretty well with it.
Yeah, and again, that's the advantage of them buying so many studios, that they can put all the games that they own the publishing rights for. They can just put them on Game Pass, and they'll make their money back that way by being the Netflix of games. And they're not sort of outlaying millions and millions and millions of dollars on each title. Obviously there's still a cost of investment for those publishers and those games and whatever, but the risk is way lower than $100 million game.
And if they can, like I've said before, if they can get the price right on the console and get that, and the predictions are, I agree with Kirk, that the Xbox is going to be the lower console, possibly much lower with what's seemingly been leaked on the back of a genuine controller, kind of the big console and the lesser one. But if that comes out as cheap as the rumors say, then it could really
that's my theory. I think that's what will happen. That's the Series S is what they're calling it, which it's just stupid.
That's what the S is for, I think.
Like
pretty much, yeah.
Anyway, but what I can see happening is it will get closer and closer to November. Sony might not say anything about price, and then you'll have Microsoft announce the Series X price. Sony will come in and undercut them, and then the next day they'll announce the Series S. Oh, what's that? It's $200 less than the PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
and it's less powerful, or it doesn't have a DVD drive. I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you, Kirk, about not including a controller.
I'm with you there.
I cannot see that happening at all. They've upgraded the controller, so I don't think they're gonna like it's a slightly different controller than the current
slightly
Xbox
different.
One. Yeah, it's
very slightly.
It's
very
different
slightly.
enough that they'll put it in the box. But yeah, I think that's what'll happen. That it'll be the 1-2 punch from Microsoft that they'll counter whatever Sony says by just releasing a lower end console.
Yeah. Plus Xbox, I think they've got this consumer friendly agenda going
Yeah.
as well this time around. So I disagreed that they'll exclude a controller. I think they will include it because I think for people, coming onto the market for the first time, like there's still a lot of people out there that don't have consoles. I think that's a really big put off for console gaming. So I think, they're going to have those two models there. Both come with controllers, different price ranges, and really focusing on this consumer friendly agenda that they're going for, with the backwards compatibility of all the accessories and the games and everything like that. And even the cover work for the games, like it's just got Xbox at the top, but it does have that sticker there that says optimized for Series X. But
it's just so good. Hats off, big round of applause to Microsoft. Like, thank you. It's just so refreshing to know that this console season, I don't have to go out and spend another $1,000 to be able to play Halo.
Yeah.
They're going to burn money though, aren't they? I think this is where you got to remind yourself.
This is the gamble. This is the gamble. Yeah.
You got to remind yourself that Microsoft owns Windows and Microsoft and Office 365 and all that. And you kind of sometimes forget that, like, they're a way bigger company than Sony. You just think like, because Sony won, the previous generation and Sony have TVs and stuff, but Microsoft are massive and they can kind of just afford to just splash a whole bunch of cash around and just have a huge gamble on this, which I do think that they are having a massive gamble on it. And to see how this goes, because if it works, Phil Spencer's a genius and it all pays off. And I think they reckon the xCloud stuff is going to maybe go well too, which is the online stuff, playing your Xbox through the...
Unless you're an Apple user.
Yeah. Well, we could get into that if we want to.
That's a whole... sorry. We've already been going nearly an hour. Yeah.
That's all right. Look, the other thing I'm really looking forward to, I know Criterion are making the next Need for Speed. That's my last.
I didn't know that. I hadn't joined those. Hang on. Am I remembering this right? Criterion was Burnout?
Yeah.
That's why you like it. Okay. I was like, why do you care about Need for Speed? It's
no. Need for Speed Most Wanted. It was the one that's like, what was that? And they did it. They've done it, but they're owned by EA now. But it's the other game.
Risky.
I know. But they went out on that purchasing thing. But Criterion has continued to exist. They've made a lot of stuff in the Star Wars games. Some of the best levels, they've made some of that stuff. It's the other thing I'm looking forward to, but there's nothing on it. There's only...
by the way, that Star Wars game looks cool. Is that the best game that got announced?
Oh, the Squadrons.
Yeah. Oh, Squadrons, yeah. Yep.
Very, very, very cool.
I'm still on the edge about it. Because it's coming in at that lower price point. I'm still worried it's just going to be sort of a rehash of Battlefield 2 assets.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I put this game on a wish list on a previous podcast.
That's fair.
That they would redo X-Wing versus TIE
Fighter.
Yes. I remember this. Yep.
So this is early days of our gaming, brother.
So if that's what it is, and it's not just an arcade, like a cheap arcade shooter,
that's what I'm worried about. There's just going to be really arcadey and hit the mark. I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. I would be very excited for that style of game. Look, flight simulator, but in Star Wars. Like, yes, please.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That could be real good. And again, that looks like a AA, sort of title, doesn't it?
AA.
Yeah. I think it's launching at $60. So
yeah. And hats off to EA have made a few more consumer friendly moves, which we don't want to get too excited about, but they tend to, because it is EA, but they seem to have listened to the backlash and tried to... They're
no longer total pieces of garbage. Yes.
Yeah. They're more of a smelly bin rather than a bin that's caught on fire.
Look, I'll still find something of quality in that bin,
All
right.
I feel like this analogy has gone as far as...
It's Dragon Age, though. I mean... Yeah. But if they just got to announce, a Mass Effect remaster, or remake.
That's actually rumored right now, Kirk.
It is rumored, yeah. Yeah.
Well, but like rumored more than it's been rumored for the last 3 years, or just...
As long as it doesn't turn out like Andromeda, you're cool.
Exactly. Look, everyone's going to buy it for 2. We're all going to fall in love with 2, and then we'll enjoy 3 like we did. But then we're going to play 2 again, and then we're going to go, let's put Andromeda in for free, and everyone's going to go, no,
Nah, you can keep it.
I'll go back to 2 and play that again.
Dude, I played Mass Effect 2 a couple of years ago. I was like, oh, this game's so good. Yeah. All right. I think we might be nearing the end here.
Yeah, maybe.
Any final massive predictions on where things are going to go?
Atari's going to outsell Xbox and PS5 combined.
Well, I would love to kind of go double down on what Andy is saying. I would love the rumors to be true that Microsoft is going to hard undercut Sony. Like, just to kind of go, money, we have that. Here's a console that's phenomenally affordable. By the way, Game Pass, or you can buy that really good machine. And then there's all the rumors that say that things are running better on the new Xbox dev kits, on the new Xbox consoles than they are on PS5 and all that kind of stuff. If Microsoft comes in at a phenomenally good point, I'm thinking under $500 for their main, and then under that for their cheaper day one. Ooh,
That'd be bonkers.
That'd be bonkers. Doubt it, but that would be amazing.
One thing that Kirk and I have spoken about in our social lives is something that Xbox do overseas. I think they do it in the States, is that they do like I think it's called Xbox Game Pass All Access, I think. But it's Game Pass plus an extra like $20 a month, and you get a console.
Get a console, yeah.
So you lease the console. So it's like a phone plan.
It's a phone plan
console.
for the console. Yeah. It never made it to Australia.
Yeah, but man, that makes so much sense, I think. And I could see that doing really well for the series. The S and the X, if there is an S.
Man, they're bad at naming their console.
It's bad.
Not looking forward to November, dude. I'm not looking forward to November. Oh.
Do you have the new Xbox, the X or the S? Sorry,
they had the opportunity to just go Xbox 5 because they had the One X. It was like that's basically Xbox 4. Just go with Xbox 5,
or just keep their project names. Like, just go completely opposite. Yeah, be different and keep their project names.
Project Scorpio, Project
Scarlet. Yeah. Like, just keep the project names. Yeah. Like, just roll with it. Be different, guys.
Scorpio was cool. That was great.
Yeah. Remind me of Hank Scorpio from Simpsons.
Yes. Scorpio.
That's such a good episode. It's one of the best. You got the Havoc District.
Wow.
Yeah, Phil Spencer just keeping sugar in his pockets the whole time.
Yeah. So look, my prediction: Xbox to come in cheap. That would be awesome. Look, if the PlayStation is affordable, I'm tempted to be a VR early adopter for PS5. I've played at PS4. It is sensational, but I'm not there yet. I want the screen to be better when I'm that close to it. But if it, and we know it's coming. That's coming. So, and if it's coming on the PS5 at a not stupid high price, tempting, very tempting.
My last prediction, guys, I think Halo 3 has come back as a reality. Honestly.
What?
Sorry, not Halo 3. Half-Life 3.
So confused.
Sorry, my bad.
Yep.
So have you been playing it on Master Chief Collection? It's on PC now. Yeah.
Okay, so because Half-Life Alex just sort of surprised us all earlier in the year. None of us has played it yet because
I've got a mate who's played it. Says it's amazing, but he's got every VR title. So
yeah. So word is the best piece of VR software, basically, but also a fantastic game and a fantastic Half-Life game. But the word is Valve are like, yeah, this has warmed us up for more Half-Life to come.
Ooh.
And that it's that Half-Life 3, because it's sort of a prequel, but it seems like it's really set things up and sort of spiced up the story for it all to come together for an actual sequel. So I used to just joke about it on the show, and like, wouldn't Half-Life 3 be great? But
pretty sure we were making that joke a while ago as well.
Yeah.
But a non-VR Half-Life 3, I think, is actually possible now. And Valve, I think, have shown they still got it. So, and they're actually Epic. I think the Epic Game Store shook Valve out of their slumber there, and they're
just rolling in money
anymore, and they're actually doing some creative things. So I'll be interested to see what Valve's going to do. They are a massive company, and they just do games. And if you think about the games they've released, they have done some of the greatest games of all time. Yeah, and
just not recently.
Yeah,
Half-Life Alyx,
but that's the first game they've released in like a decade?
Years.
Yeah.
When did Dota 2 come out?
Dota. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
I forget about Dota.
But not a lot recently, but they do have a lot of talent in there somewhere. So, and they brought back a lot of the old Half-Life game guys, back in. So
I actually had a funny story regarding the Valve team. And actually, Andy messaged me not long after this actually happened. So I was in Melbourne setting up for PAX, and like Red Dead was launching. It was quite a big PAX event, and I was staying at the hotel where a lot of the developers were staying at, and a lot of the big dogs were staying at. And I actually got stuck in an elevator with the Valve team that were attending PAX. And it was just like, and Andy was like, did you ask them about Half-Life 3? And I was like, that's the one question I'm not going to ask them. Like, imagine the amount of times they've been asked this question. I was like, that's the one thing I'm not going to ask them. And, oh man, it was funny. That was a good time.
Yeah,
being stuck in the elevator.
How long for, Bri?
Oh, not long. It was, probably like about 10 minutes or so. It wasn't that long, but being a very high profile hotel, they were onto it pretty well. But I thought it was funny. Yeah, it was just, and Andy just being casually like, did you ask? I'm like, no.
I mean, you got to.
Were they wearing just like Valve? Like, how'd you get, did you work out they were Valve because of uniform or name tags? Or
yeah. So everyone like had
name tag just said Gabe.
No, everyone had T-shirts and like lanyards and stuff, so you could easily identify who they were, and ended up having breakfast with an Ubisoft guy the next morning as well. So that was fun.
Also, they were lighting their cigars by burning $100 notes.
Yeah, exactly. I make my own money. Yeah.
All right,
Bri's rubbing shoulders with the high flyers in the gaming industry.
Yeah,
just for a couple of days.
Glad someone made it, Bri, out of the forums.
Retail for the win.
Yeah.
Hey, great to catch up with you on Zoom. If you're watching, hope you enjoyed catching up with the old crew, or if it's the first time you've ever met us. This is the Sophistimicated Gaming Podcast, where we get a little bit sophisticated, but not too much. And we talked games. Who knows? Maybe we'll see you again in 7 years. But yeah,
will be out.
The plan is to chuck this at least on our Facebook page, which still exists. So jump on there. That would probably be the only place we'll interact with you if you comment. We might put this somewhere else, but if you actually want to interact with us, chuck it on there. Your comments on there, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on gaming. What's going to happen? Some predictions. It's a good time to do that. Other than that, good to be with you guys. Catch you later, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
We miss you.